my fellow students. My name is Merve Agbojabi, and this is my AVID experience. I remember very clearly being in the 8th grade, having to learn about the AVID program. The first thing my principal told me about the AVID program is that it was an advancement via individual determination. The AVID system is designed to help improve students in performance in school. AVID made it very possible for me to get through high school. I am going to tell you how I was before AVID. Well, I was a very childish girl who knew nothing about how high school was going to be like. The one thing that I am is a procrastinator, which is not a very good thing when you're just coming in as a freshman. I am a student who likes to have fun and does not very much care about her schoolwork. The funny thing was, I was still getting good grades. Coming to America was a big transition for me because I left all my extended family back in Ivory Coast. I was homesick. I felt as though nobody really wanted to be friends with me. At school, the only English words that I knew was, "Hi, how are you?" That was it. It was lonely, and at times I felt like I do not belong here. I've been in the program for nearly 3 years now. I have been influenced in the AVID program by my teacher, who made me understand the real reason behind AVID. AVID was to make sure that the students have a positive attitude. This one specific teacher was my best teacher. She changed my whole perspective about AVID. She believed in things that I could accomplish. Her name was Miss Pope. When I first entered the class, I finally found people that I could seriously relate to. People who I could talk to about anything. For example, when you're having a bad day at school or something personal going on at home, you can come and talk to them and be able to trust them. It gave me an opportunity to make friends and family. Having AVID encouraged me to continue to work hard in my classes. Well, the one thing I did not like very much was organization, because it was very hard to adapt to. It gave us reading homework every night, and we had to do binder check every week. However, I noticed when I was organized, I could find my paper more easily, and my binder was not a horrifying mess anymore. Being AVID students made me believe in myself, respect my peers, and most importantly, have a positive attitude. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. It all started 8th grade year when I got called out of class thinking I was in some sort of trouble. I was part of a meeting that Mr. C, the AVID coordinator from Northwood High School, had organized at my middle school at that time. There were a lot of other students from my grade who thought the program seemed interesting and wanted to be in it. We were all given a packet and told to fill out with parents and teachers and turn it in to our counselor by a given due date, or else we would not be in the program. All my friends started talking about the meeting all throughout the school. The teachers started asking questions, but I wasn't really into that. My middle school was a very small school, and I was a kid who turned in work late, but not because my dog ate it, but because I had lost it and found it late. I never used a planner, and the few times I did use it, it was to doodle. I never remembered what my homework was, and sometimes I even forgot what classes I had. But that tall, limping black dude wanted me to remember to turn in that packet. Yeah, right. It wasn't until the last week of school that I remembered about the packet. By then, it was too late. I hadn't even begun to fill it out. So I decided to just forget about AVID. When my high school papers arrived, I found out that my schedule said AVID. I was surprised because I hadn't even turned in anything for that class, but I was happy that I was accepted, and that's how AVID started. The first week of school, my complaints started. A 3-inch binder for all my classes, Cornell notes for all the classes, including gym. What kind of program was this? For a whole year, I kept thinking, wow, that one meeting that made the programs feel so great was all false advertising. I wanted to get out of there. My sophomore year came, and I found myself still in AVID. Though I wanted to leave the class, something always pulled me back. I liked how I wrote my homework and would always remember it, and the fact that I had a class that would help me with things I didn't understand. Tutorial became a great help, even though sometimes I only asked questions I already knew the answer to. Junior year became one of the hardest years because we would study a lot and practice a lot of words for the SAT and ACT. We practiced essays, and we would always be looking at colleges and finding information on them. The college process had begun, and it was harder for me because of personal problems with parents going on at home. I couldn't find a way to get back up, but the AVID coordinator insisted on me, and I soon started to see differences in my classes. Senior year, the last year in AVID, the year of all the college essays and college applications. AVID has helped me in a great way, from becoming that guy who was going to end up at McDonald's to the guy that has a dream to succeed. I am AVID.
I am unique. I am confident. I am Mariano Massa. I wouldn't be able to say this without the AVID, who just fueled my motivation to success, to my future. I am an AVID success story. AVID is a ladder towards success. Back in 9th grade, my teacher, Ms. Pope, set up a hard mathematical warm-up. I was intrigued by it and I couldn't find an answer. I set all my day, to find an answer, and when I did, I knew that math wasn't just a subject for me. It was going to be important to my future studies. She had opened a door towards success. 4 years ago, my best friend and I got a calling from a God that said he had a system for us, a system for success. That God's name is Mr. Charles Alexander, and he has changed my academic life. I was a typical middle school student, B's and C grades, not caring much about school, disorganized, just an overall mess. But all of that changed. When I got into AVID, I just thought it was just a class to do work. But no, it's more than that. Teachers go the extra mile for you. Teachers always check up on you. I hear stories from my peers that Mr. C will walk down the hallways and check on you. You just cannot fall behind anybody. When I started out with high school, the transition was huge. I started again with my decent grades. I wasn't ready for all this hard work. So my grades started dropping, and immediately Miss Pope saw that. Miss Pope then came up to me and offered herself for self-tutoring. I agreed, and after a few sessions, I knew that I was doing better, and immediately my grades went up. This hasn't happened to me. In middle school, never happened. Joining AVID was a huge stepping stone towards my future. Now I am actually showing my grades and what I'm actually capable of. This year and last year, we started doing college process. I am the first person in my family to go to college in the United States. I don't know anything about the process, neither does my family. I was stuck. I did not know what to do. I ended up going to MC, but I'm okay with that because I'm at least going somewhere. And thanks to Mr. C, he has set that up for me. And once again, I am unique, I am confident, I am Mariano Massa. And this is my AVID success story.
My name is Christopher Cornell, and this is my AVID speech. Joining the AVID program had a great influence on me. Without AVID, I would have been a disorganized, had low grades, poor study habits, and poor note-taking skills. I would have been an overall lazy student. But my experience at AVID helped me to take advantage of new opportunities, will change, and define my future. Teachers, tutors, and peers were a big help in my academic growth. I encountered problems in my AVID class, but the AVID program helped me to overcome them. During my high school classes, I had obstacles, but my AVID family would help me overcome my obstacles if it dealt with classwork. Whenever I would need help with classwork I didn't understand from my other classes, I could ask my AVID family for help to help me understand my classwork. Also, my AVID teachers would let me do projects or other big assignments if I had tutorial. My 9th and 10th grade teacher, Ms. Pope, would check on me to make sure I did my work for every class because I didn't work when I entered high school. I just wanted to have a more relaxed fun time. She would enter my class and check if I was doing my work and paying attention. She would also remind me of work I had to do for her math class and other classes. Because of this, I was able to have good grades throughout the years in AVID. Many of my new skills I gained are influenced by my past experience. I was a good student in middle school because my parents would bother me about my grades. But when I got into high school, I was more concerned about having fun than getting good grades. In AVID, my freshman and sophomore teacher will want me to start using Cornell notes for every class I had. In my junior year, Cornell notes became a big help and they improved my studying skills. Now, in my senior year, Cornell notes became a note-taking and study guide habit. Another skill I gained from the experience with AVID was public speaking. My sophomore AVID teacher would make us do public speaking on random topics. She called it fishbowls. Later in high school, I would have to do more public speaking, but since 10th grade, I didn't fear public speaking as much as I did before. And this is how AVID helped me become a better student. I learned to use Cornell notes, public speaking, and do better on my grades. It taught me new skills, it helped me grow academically, and to overcome obstacles. AVID changed me completely. In the past, I would simply walk away from a problem in frustration. Now, I understand there are many possibilities to overcome them.
Came to me before high school began. He offered a system. A system he promised was the formula to success. A way to reach my dreams and follow my destiny. In these times of drugs, gangs, and violence, we, the teens of today, look for guidance. Luckily for me, I had a mentor and a friend. His name was Charles Alexander. When people used to look at me, they saw failure, a waste of human existence. But Mr. Charles Alexander's words proved otherwise. My name is Jeffrey Cabrera. I am an emergency medical technician. I am a future surgeon, and I am an AVID success story. In my freshman year, I was scared. There were so many changes to my life. I was no longer top dog, but more bottom of the food chain. Entering the class, I was nervous, and Ms. Pope, my 9th grade teacher, said, "Welcome to a college-level class." This certainly didn't calm the butterflies in my stomach. But after a few weeks, I settled down and relaxed. I felt really comfortable as I was getting high B's. For the first time, I felt successful. My ego skyrocketed, and I have the AVID team to thank. Now, in my senior year of the program, I truly feel like I am ready for the college experience. My life has been influenced positively by AVID, with much thanks to my peers, my tutors, and my teachers. I had one of the most trustworthy best friends in AVID, and we would always help each other to the I don't get it questions, since he was stronger in mathematics, I was stronger in science and English. And we had competitions about this, because we would always be the best in each other. Sophomore year, we made a wager that I was going to shave my head if I got a lower GPA than him. I have a 3.0 GPA, he's a 3.2 GPA. So college is going to be very interesting next year. I had a very nice tutor in AVID, my 9th grade year. We made a very special bond because he was Bolivian, I was Bolivian. We related really closely to each other. He was like an older brother to me, and he taught me a lot of things academically, personally, and sports. This season, he taught me all about tennis, and thanks to him, we won our first division title in 45 years. I have also a teacher that deserves special recognition, Mr. Carrick. He was the AVID Club sponsor as well as my biology teacher. He always helped me with my medical homework, and he'd always give me supplies to keep my AVID binder in top form. These people have affected my life differently, but they've all helped me, give me that one push towards the future. But in as every good time, there's always bad times. My junior year was a complete disaster. I had many choices to make. Some I made correctly. Others I made foolishly. A good decision of mine was to leave AVID to join a medical explorers class. I missed all the wonderful trips they had to colleges, and I would see Mr. C in the hall frequently asking me the question of how was my grades. It showed that even though I was not a part of them, I was technically still a part of them. In the winter though, disaster struck all around. I received death threats, I was bullied, robbed. It made me go into a very deep depression. My grades dropped again, and motivation and concentration diminished. I tended to avoid my mentor, but as time passed, I saw advice from all the AVID staff, each delivering the same message. What makes us weak can also make us stronger. Simple advice like that and a pat on the back can truly save someone. From a 1.0 GPA to a 3.0 GPA, their advice became reality. Mr. Alexander gladly put me back in the program and basically grabbed my hand and showed me to success, back into the vision of success. My destiny is back in my own hands, and I hold the key to my own prosperity. Whenever there's an open house, I tell everyone how amazing AVID is to me. At Northwood, people underrate our program because it is regarded as a waste of time and effort. But if you look at it with an open heart and mind, it truly is the doorway to success. My name is Jeffrey Cabrera. I am an emergency medical technician. I am a future surgeon, and I am an AVID success story.
Jonathan Valdez, and this is my AVID success story. When I was young, teachers would always ask my mother, why doesn't Jonathan stay seated? Why does he keep on running around? Why can't he concentrate? Does your son have ADD, ADHD? These were questions that my mom would receive all the time. She would receive calls, emails, and letters. When my mom received all these, my mom would just go into a room and cry. But this all changed when I entered middle school. Middle school was the time of change. I settled myself a little better, but I still had problems with three things: homework, studying, and taking notes. Those were three things that I could not get stuck into my system as hard as I tried. 8th grade year came. I heard about this program called AVID. They set up interviews. Their seat was there. It was pretty entertaining. They got us all hyped. We were all looking forward to this program. So the first day I got my packet, I filled it out. The next day it was into my counselor's hands. High school started. I got my schedule. When I received my schedule, I noticed I didn't have AVID. I wasn't too sad. I thought to myself, there are many other students who signed up. There are students who needed it more than I did. So then I started 9th grade off with a 3.0. Stuff started happening to me. Family issues and private life stuff. I dropped down to a 1.5. That was the lowest I ever got in high school. This happened, and it was a very hectic situation. At the end of 9th grade year, a tall, large black man came into my room, into my classroom. He just said in a very serious voice, looking down, "Is Jonathan Valdez here?" I was scared, because security here, most of them are pretty tall and really large. So I walked out very nervously into the hallway, put me up against the wall, and asked, "Do you want to be an AVID next year?" I looked at him like, "Are you, like, what is this?" And I didn't take it seriously, but I said yes. From that day on, my life would never be the same. 10th grade year started. I entered into the class AVID. It was kind of nice. I had a couple friends there, but at the same time, the class was very full. We would do tutorial and all the stuff that we had to do in AVID. All this, it helped me improve. Helped me improve with Cornell notes, doing homework, and studying. Even though these things did not get stuck completely into my system. 11th grade year came, we had a teacher called Mr. Sar. Mr. Sar was a teacher that he would encourage us to do what we had to do. He would tell us to not set the bar too high, set it where we could reach our goals. So then I took that in consideration. My skills started improving a little bit. 12th grade year came. We had the AVID coordinator was our teacher. His name is Mr. Alexander. Mr. Alexander was the only teacher out of all three that could get into personally with me and get me into studying, taking notes, and actually doing homework. Every time I had a problem with my grades, he would call me up, put me to the side, and Jonathan, what's happening? Is there a problem? What can you do? Can you talk to your teachers? Can you see them at lunch? This actually put me in a place where I was like, there are teachers that actually care about you. People who actually put time aside for you. I was very excited, and at the same time, I saw my grades improve. Now I have 2.55 and rising. And this year in AVID, our class got smaller, but we are a tighter packed family. We know that we've been through rough times in AVID, but we are still here, and we are united as a family. If all my teachers would see me now, what would they say? I do not know. But I know it would be better than what they would have said when I was a child. I'm Jonathan. This is my AVID success story.
Pierre Austin, and I have been an AVID since my freshman year in high school. And over the years, it has influenced me to be a more organized, academic, and overall well-rounded person. I remember my first year in AVID. I did not really want to participate. I would see how all my friends that were not in AVID seemed to have more fun. They had smaller binders, less responsibility, and were held to a much lower standard than AVID students were. Since I was so focused on not being an AVID, I did not use the skills that they taught me, and so I did not do very well. My sophomore year, I decided that I should just allow myself to be taught the methods. So I did, and I managed to earn a GPA above a 3.0, which was new for me. It made me excited knowing that I could succeed if I really tried. AVID also gave me new opportunities, like the Upward Bound program at the University of Maryland. The program allowed me to get a real college experience. If it was not for the presentation that my previous AVID teacher, Ms. Pope, hosted, I would have never signed up and gotten accepted into the Upward Bound program. AVID helped me with college research, SAT and ACT prep, and college essays, which are all types of assistance that not everyone had available to them. On top of the academic opportunities that AVID gave me, it also helped me figure out what type of people I want to be around. Did I want to be around people who did not care about what they did with their lives, or did I want to be around people who cared about their futures? That answer was easy to figure out once I figured out what I wanted to do with my life, and AVID helped me figure that out. I want to get a good education, and if I continued to stay around the people that I had hung around with, I would not have 4.0 GPA. AVID will help me stay organized in college and develop good study habits. And it has provided me with a comfortable place to go where I don't have to feel somebody is judging me. The AVID classroom is a very comfortable place that your voice will always be heard. AVID has helped me shape my life, my future, and myself. I don't know where I would be or what my life would be like without AVID, and I do not want to find out. Thank you.
Shay George. One day during my freshman year, Mr. C called me into his office and asked me a simple question. Hey Shay, how was English class yesterday? I thought this was a random and pointless question, but I responded with, it was cool. We wrote essays and stuff. This is when I should have known something was up because he stared at me for what felt like 10 minutes before he said, oh really? Because I was in your class the whole period waiting for you. That was the conversation that changed the rest of my high school life. When I started high school, my main and only focus was to have fun and be with my friends, who at the time were bringing me down without me realizing it. In the past, I had always dreamed of going to college and becoming successful, but at this point in my life, it just didn't seem possible. So I began to skip school often. And the more I skipped, the faster my grades dropped, and the quicker I stopped caring about school. I was going nowhere, fast. When my first quarter report card came out, I looked at my GPA and knew that I had to get my act together. I had become a student at risk. Because of the person I am, I believed that I could do it on my own, but my mother thought otherwise. She went to Northwood's back to school at night and met Mr. Charles Alexander, the AVID coordinator, and found a way to force me into their class. Ironically, the girl that I was already skipping with was already in the class, which I suppose was a positive thing because my mind was already set on skipping this class, but since she liked it, I gave it a try. At the time, Miss Pope was my AVID teacher, and I didn't really like the class because she was a person I didn't know and kept trying to tell me how to fix myself. And to be honest, I don't take too kindly to new adults. So I thought I was just going to do what I wanted and continue to get by. And then Mr. C officially met me, and together Mr. C and Miss Pope forced me to do better. They would randomly show up in my classes to make sure I was there. If my grades dropped, they'd find me in the hallways and lecture me. Then they even gave me a piece of paper to give to every one of my teachers to get them to sign to have proof that I came to the class and stayed there. I felt like I was being stalked by a couple of ninjas. They were everywhere. There was like no escaping them. I was officially on house arrest to education. Eventually, I learned to trust them both, Miss Pope and Mr. C, and knew that they were trying to help me do well. By second quarter, I raised my GPA from a 2.0 to a 3.27. I was so proud of myself because I realized that I could actually do better. I had lost a lot of friends by the end of the freshman year because my priorities no longer fit theirs. This was the hardest part of my path to success because my friends were my backbone. Junior year was a serious struggle, not only for me but my entire junior class. As an upperclassman, they decided to give us a new teacher, Mr. Sauter. And to be honest, I gave that man hell because I didn't like change and I had serious authority issues. I also lost my best friend who had been with me skipping and AVID buddy since the 6th grade because she no longer wanted to be a part of AVID. So I was officially on my own. I honestly wasn't sure how I'd do at the time because I wasn't sure if I was a stronger person. I learned that I'm a leader, not a follower, and I didn't need any friends to succeed. AVID helped me learn what my priorities were and taught me how to schedule my time between cheerleading, friends, and school in a way that I can enjoy everything and still keep up with my main goal, which was to go to college. Currently, I'm a senior waiting to graduate in June and attend St. John's University on a full ride scholarship in the fall. Many might think AVID is a crutch, but it isn't. It's a reminder that we are better than the stereotypes and the judgments that we put on ourselves. It's a place that tells us that we can succeed when everything else tells us otherwise. It's a place that makes failure not an option. It's a place we can call home. And honestly, I don't know where I would be right now without the help of my AVID family. Thank you.
On December 16th, 2010, my life changed irrevocably. I didn't know it at the time, but that day was sort of a chain of events that would have a major effect on me. It was the day I had my first anxiety attack. That anxiety attack led to many more, and eventually it reached the point where I couldn't go to school anymore. The worst part of all of it, for many months I didn't know what was wrong. No one did. I didn't know what was happening to me. The 4 months I wasn't in school, I was enrolled in a home tutoring program. And through the help of my parents and some dear friends, I worked through my issues and was ready to face the next year, my senior year. Adjusting back to school wasn't easy, but the AVID program at my school, and in particular, its valiant leader, Mr. Alexander, helped me readjust. My biggest fear about returning to school was that after leaving without explanation or reason, people were going to badger me about it and ask me all these questions and treat me differently. But that never happened to me in AVID. My peers gave me time to adjust and acted like I never left, which was what I needed. Nothing changed. It wasn't any different. I didn't become a social leper that I feared I would. In a lot of ways, I was behind in my studies, especially in things like SAT prep and the college application process, because I'd missed part of the year because AVID wasn't in my tutoring program. However, whenever I had questions, my friends in AVID were there to lend an ear and help me. Mr. Alexander, fondly known as Mr. C, aka Mr. Coordinator, has been the biggest help in my reacclimation. When I'm down, he always knows what's wrong, even when I'm trying to hide it. He always summons me to his desk and demands to know what's wrong. And most days, I tell him what's going on immediately. But on days I don't, he just stares at me and doesn't let me leave till I've spilled my guts. He gives me pep talks and his enthusiasm is injected into my day. And it really helps me get through. AVID also gives me reaffirmation because sometimes I don't think I'm good enough at all. It reminds me that while I'm insecure and I have severe self-doubt sometimes, that I am good enough. It's a place where I'm always good enough. Without AVID, I probably would have returned back to my program soon after I'd started school back up again. It was a haven for me, a place where I didn't have to hide or be afraid, which was hard for me because sometimes I'm very reserved. AVID opened my eyes to new possibilities and taught me you don't have to look at something from one perspective. As a person, I grew from a frightened introvert into a sort of snarky, sarcastic young woman who isn't afraid to speak her mind. Things have really changed since December 16th, 2010. With AVID's help, I did become a better student, but more importantly than that, I became a better person.